Anything good happen this weekend in the
I told you Mater Dei was going to score at least 50.
Yeah.
It was nice, you know, that stadium was actually able to see some points scored. I know there was some on that Thursday game, but
You see, how are those Tampa Bay guys doing?
hey, we got caught with that flu bug, so it wasn't good. Made Case Keenum look like Tom Brady, though.
All right, we're moments away here from going live, but we have the Xcellent 25 up there right now.
No changes in the top 10. I thought about maybe moving Bosco up a spot, but hey, American Heritage looked really good. Bosco had to score a couple of late touchdowns to pull out the big road win against St. John's, but top 10's the same. Little movement in the middle.
I'm wondering if our producer actually clicked that we're going live.
I doubt it. I told you 11:08, so.
I don't see.
We're giving good material right now, too. I'll be a little bummed.
I know.
Big T's waiting to walk over here. He's not sure if he can or if he's going to get in the camera, or he's getting his shot in today. That's what he wants to do.
Okay. Now I see that we are actually live.
He did hit the button.
Here on Facebook, and thanks for joining in. As always on Monday with our national football editor, Zack Poff. I am Steve Montoya, and we're talking high school football rankings, Zack, and not a lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Yeah, only two top 25 teams lost, and both lost to teams ranked higher than them, so they're still in.
Yeah, and you had IMG right there at the number 2 spot. They went up against Central.
I might get
Miami
a little
Central.
flack because I do have Bishop Gorman ranked ahead of Miami Central. Miami Central beat them, but
yeah, what is up with that? I'm going to give you some flack on that too.
Bishop Gorman's got a couple of nice wins, and I look at it this way. I'm not one. I know a lot of other places might keep teams the same if they lose, but if you lose, you're going to drop a couple of spots. I did the same thing with Corona Centennial last year when they lost to IMG Academy. And the game of high school football is 4 quarters. If it was 3 quarters, Miami Central would have won, but
Miami Central beat Bishop Gorman.
I still think, though, if they played again, I think Bishop Gorman would beat them.
But Miami Central beat Bishop Gorman.
I
mean, I'm on the other side of the table here.
And I
don't agree with that one.
You see it in college football all the time, too. Sometimes a team might beat another team, but yet that team still might be ranked ahead later in the season.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, no matter what side you're on, let us know on Facebook comments. We'll get to those during the show. Bishop Gorman lost to Miami Central, and Miami Central is behind Bishop Gorman.
I look at it this way, too, is Miami Central's got some games left on the schedule where the strength of schedule is going to be better. So they're going to still have a chance, obviously, if they win some games. They beat teams like Miami Northwestern and Carroll City and win a state title. Then, obviously at the end of the year, they're going to be ranked ahead of Bishop Gorman. But, they gave IMG a great game. They fell a little short, and they're still in the top 15.
Yeah.
But I'm usually one, if you lose a game, I'm not going to keep you there. I'm going to drop you a couple of spots. The same thing happened with St. John's, too, They're playing St. John Bosco really well, but Bosco came back and won, so they dropped a few spots also, too. But at the end of the day, if Miami Central wins out, they'll be ahead of Bishop Gorman at the end of the season.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, let's pull those rankings up one more time if you're just joining us here as we're talking high school football rankings. And Zach, IMG Academy, a lot of talk about them, about should they even be in the rankings or, all that. And let's just talk, if IMG runs the table, they do not lose again, and Mater Dei falls or drops, could IMG at the end of the season be number 1, or are we sticking with you have to win a state championship in order to be number 1?
I'm one that I feel you run through the playoffs. It's a winner go home game 6 times potentially, like you see in Texas, at least 3 or 4 times most other states. I'm one where I value if you win that state title, that means much more than going through a national schedule too. And I mean, IMG does have some big-time wins, but none of them are going to most likely come against top 5 opponents, too. I mean, Corona Centennial is potentially a team that could be in the top 5 down the year, but I would say this, IMG Academy would need a lot to happen if they finish number 1 at the end of the season just because they don't play for a state title. You look at DeSoto, you look at Allen, you look at those teams. If they run the table and go undefeated and win a Texas State championship, they would most likely move ahead.
And they play potentially 6 more games.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all playoffs, winner, go home time.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Florida, too. A team like St. Thomas Aquinas, if they run the table, win, another state title, they would have a chance. And obviously they have a big-time win against a team like St. John Bosco. They actually play tonight. They're making up a game against Stranahan. And then after that, they're flying out to the West Coast to play Centennial, a team that's 5-0 from Arizona. So that's going to be 2 games in 1 week for St. Thomas Aquinas. And, let's pull up the rankings one more time real quick. You got a team like Grayson also from Georgia. They've beat the who's so far. They're undefeated this year. They won, I think, 73-0 last week. But the team they were playing only had 26 players, too. American Heritage is playing really good football right now, too. They won big. They got Patrick Surtan Jr. back this weekend. They have the top 2 corners in all of high school football on the same team, so that's pretty good.
All right, let's get to some comments. What's up, Larry and Lewis? Franklin Wildcats beat Grant. Yes, they did. That was a big win in the Delta League for the Franklin Wildcats. Eddie says Mater Dei should be ranked in the Pac-12.
I said this. I tweeted on Saturday night. I was watching the UCLA game. I said if Mater Dei plays UCLA, they're scoring at least 30. So,
all right. Eddie says St. John Bosco now has a QB issue. And
yeah, we're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll get to that.
Yeah, DJ Ugalele, man. This kid's a sophomore, top 2020 quarterback. Real Mitchell was struggling a little bit in that game against St. John's. And if you want, hey, let's roll the pack right now. Let's talk about number 6, St. John Bosco. DJ Ugalele came in late in the 4th quarter. They were down 17-7 with 7 minutes left. This youngster comes in, leads them on 2 touchdown drives, gets a big-time win on the road. So the kid shows you right away. He's very composed. You can come in a battle-tested place there out in Washington, D.C. You're on a different time zone. Defense was the team that kept him in the game, though.
Yep.
They didn't give up 1 first down the entire 4th quarter. Cole Aubrey's an absolute monster for Jason Negro's defense. This is going to be a fun matchup in the middle of October when they play Mater Dei because, Bosco might have the best defense in all of high school football, and Mater Dei does have the best offense in high school football, too. So that was a big win, though, and it'll be interesting to see what Negro does because Real Mitchell's the team captain. He's a senior.
Yeah.
This is last season, but it's nice when you have a backup quarterback like that.
Yeah, that's real nice. And Danny says, Mater Dei, St. John Bosco, they will be playing later on in the year. They probably are going to maybe even meet up
twice.
They
met up twice last year,
because they'll probably, if it all plays out like we think it will, those two will be on opposite sides, and they'll probably play for a CIF.
SoCal State Championship, pretty much.
Yeah, section title there. And then Jeff says hello from Hilmar, another Sac Joaquin section team. Allen Eagles will be back in action this week. They had a bye.
Yep.
Lewis says Miami Central should be ranked over Bishop Gorman. Yep, I agree there.
I look at it this way, man. You lose, you're going to drop a little bit, but Miami Central is going to have a chance to still move past Bishop Gorman and finish the season in the top 10. I mean, Gorman's playing a lot of Nevada opponents now, so the strength of schedule won't be there as it was earlier in the season for them. So it's going to be easy for Central to catch when they win some games. So
yeah, Irwin says, what sport do these guys play? Talking to us, volleyball. What do they know about football? Yeah, we don't know nothing about high school football.
I was a good volleyball player. So.
Yeah, we don't know anything about high school football. We don't.
You can do the rankings if you want.
Yeah, we don't do anything with high school football. This is actually our first show, first time covering the sport. All right, Chad says hello from Reno. Hey, what's up, Chad? If BG played Miami Central 100 times, BG wins 65. So he would say 65.
Listen, that game too, Miami Central, they had a lot to play for that weekend. They were playing for not just the city of Miami, but for all of Florida.
That's true.
And, Miami Central, they're obviously a top 10, top 15 team. Yeah. And they're going to be fine the rest of the year, I think, too. There's a team we're going to touch on at the end of the show that I think might actually be the best team in that district. But they just didn't have the wins at Miami Central, so I don't have them in the top 25 yet. They play IMG Saturday, though. So.
All right. Tony says he's watching from Florida. What's up, Tony? Lovely Johnson says they're watching from Loganville, Georgia. Hello there.
Grayson.
Hello for Tucson, Arizona, the Lancer Nation in the house. And we'll get back to the Facebook comments. Keep them coming here in a minute, but let's head on over to South Point. Pretty good ball club here, and they're really opening eyes. I think this is a team on the rise, right?
Oh, no doubt. They moved up 3 spots this week. There wasn't a ton of movement. They were one of the biggest movers. Darion Kendrick, name to remember. He's playing quarterback for South Point, but he's going to play receiver at Clemson when he goes there eventually. He's got a big-time receiver who's going to play corner at the next level, and Stephen Gilmore Jr., his brother's a shutdown corner for the New England Patriots. Stephon Gilmore, This is a team that beat a very good Shelby team, a team that's won 4 consecutive state titles, a team that's won 26 games in a row, 25-0. So back-to-back weeks for South Point. They beat a very good Georgia team that was undefeated, Buford, and then they answer that with a big-time win against Shelby. Shelby's got one of the best linebackers in the country in Dax Holyfield. The defense played all right for Shelby, but South Point's defense was the difference. And they check in at 17 this week. Yep. And Darion Kendrick, man, this kid is a name to remember. He's putting his name in the Player of the Year watch list for sure. Him, JT Daniels, and Juwan Williams out in Converse Judson. Those 3 guys right now are leading the race. And Reese Taylor for Ben Davis. They were another mover this week. They jumped up a couple of spots. What he's doing for Ben Davis right now is big time. St. X also had a nice win too. They won easily against Archbishop Moeller, a team that was 3-1, almost beat Trinity, the number 15 or 16 team in the top 25. So that was a big win for St. X too.
All right, keeping the comments going. Allen should be ranked higher, but Allen's one of those teams. They're one of those teams, if they continue to win and go all the way through the playoffs, win a state title, they're one that could easily get in the top 5.
And winning regular season district games hasn't been a problem for Allen. They haven't dropped a regular season game since 2012. So, with them, they're going to probably get to the state semifinals again. And I think this team has a chance to win another state title and be their first since Kyler Murray's been gone. So, they're nice, man. Grant Tisdale's a good young quarterback. You got Theo Weiss there. This is a very, very talented Allen team. I believe this is the most talented Allen team they've had since Kyler Murray days. So,
all right. Chuck says Carterville, Georgia could beat IMG. Grayson doesn't want to play them, and if they played, he's got Cartersville.
Trevor Lawrence is a stud. Yeah. He's arguably the best quarterback in the country, but Grayson's loaded when it comes to talent. And Grayson, I don't know if they're scared to play him because Grayson's actually scheduled tougher opponents than Cartersville has, so I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, that's a good one. All right, DeMontre says Allen's got the best defense in the nation.
Jernigan on the D-line, stud. They're nice, man.
All right, we got East coming back. They should be back in the top 25.
They're getting there. They barely won last week, though, but a dub's a dub, so.
Okay. Barnegat High School 3-0. Congrats to them. Toughest league in the nation's got to be.
It's not even. It's Trinity League all day.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And all those teams are getting pretty much a bye this week. Then it's time for Trinity League play. So Bosco is going to have to play Orange Lutheran, and then the following week I believe they play Mater Dei. So that's going to be a tough two-game schedule right there.
Okay, so Irwin made his comment about us knowing nothing about football. You know what it came down to? You having Gorman ahead of
I agree. Hey, I knew I was going to get flack for that. It's cool. I can take it. And I did say, man, Miami Central, if they went out this year, they're going to be ahead of Bishop Gorman at the end of the season. But, you lose a game, you're going to drop a couple of spots.
All right. John says Carterville and Grayson, best 2 teams in the nation.
I'll say in Georgia.
Okay.
And that's still maybe.
Orlando says he's watching from Louisville. What up there, Orlando?
Hey, they got a big-time team in Trinity. That's a squad that's, I think, won 24 state titles in school history. So they're a very good team. They got this cat, Rondell Moore, receiver, stud, Texas commit.
Okay, and I know I said Louisville wrong.
How do you say it?
I don't know, but I remember we got Louisville. We got a test on that, I think.
Yeah.
El Paso, Texas, in the house. We got Christopher Stonebreaker.
That's an essay right there.
Chiming in, we're not going to get to that one. But
is it a breakdown how to say Louisville?
Yeah, I need it. He knows how to say it.
It's a guy laughing in the back there. That's who Chris Stonebreaker is.
Right there.
Get some work done.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to Mater Dei.
Yeah.
They were at Levi's Stadium there, and they were playing St. Mary's. And
wasn't good for St. Mary's.
Mater Dei showed SoCal's right now a little step above.
Yeah, there's JT Daniels right there. This kid is the best quarterback, I believe, in all high school football. I'm going to get some flack for that. I know there's 2 guys out in Georgia that are big time. But what JT Daniels has been doing since freshman year is amazing. There's Nico Remigio there. He's been a stud this year. But JT Daniels has thrown for 16 touchdowns so far this year, 5 touchdowns alone in this game, and he's playing mainly just the first half because the game is over by halftime. Amonra St. Brown's back. This team, when it comes to weapons, more than anyone else in high school football, I believe they're, I don't want to say way ahead of IMG Academy, but it's an easy choice who the #1 team in high school football is right now. The thing with Mater Dei, though, Now they got to play in the Trinity League,
Yeah.
but they beat some very good non-league opponents and won easily. So,
yeah, and once it comes to league play,
yeah,
it's just a whole different beast because
animal.
you're used to playing those teams, so your defensive coordinators know how to game plan, but sometimes a team's just that good. A buddy of mine was at that game. He said JT Daniels made all the good throws, and all of a sudden he'd be on his back leg and throw a 40-yard laser on a dart and hitting all those athletes on the outside.
And the thing that impresses me the most with JT Daniels, ever since his freshman year, he's been calling his own plays. Like, what freshman quarterback does that in high school football?
Right.
And, he's thrown for more yards and touchdowns than any other quarterback from the Orange County area. A couple of good guys have played there: Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold, who I got to see Saturday. That was fun.
All right, let's get back to some of the comments here. Terrell Hugley is the most slept on running back in Michigan.
Okay.
SJC is a good young team. They will be a top 10 next season. La Mirada, the Matadors, lost their first season game, but was an upset. Go Denham Springs, the Yellow Jacket. Lovely says, never scared. Great, must be talking about Grayson.
Anytime you got Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, you got a chance to win any game you play in, because that's what happens when you have a big-time quarterback. You're always in the game. But Grayson's loaded.
All right. Animo Jackie Robertson 4-0 against Laguna Blanca 4-0. Best 8-man game in California this week.
We should send a crew.
We should. You should go to that game. All right. Zach will get to some of these comments as well right after the show with more specific questions. And let's get to our last breakdown of our game that we want to hit on, and that comes down to Northwestern.
Yeah, so let's pull up the next 5 real quick. Actually, can we pull up the next 5 before we run these? Sweet. All right, so these are the next 5. These are the first 5 teams out of the top 25. Miami Northwestern's at 26. Orange Lutheran's playing really well this year. And then Tulsa Union also in Manville with Jalen Preston. But the team I wanted to hit on right now is number 26, Northwestern. They're a team I wanted to put into the rankings this week, but there's just everyone else played so well, there's no reason to drop anybody.
Right.
You're going to look at Tutu Atwell. He's listed at 5'8". There's no way this kid's 5'8". He's a big-time quarterback. He reminds me a ton of any of my Texas high school football fans back in the day at DeSoto. Desmond White, who's now a starting slot receiver for TCU. This kid reminds me of him. They also have a very good defense. There's Devod Wilson there, a Florida commit. You also got Samuel Brooks and Demetrius Mays. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to pick this game just yet, but there potentially could be an upset alert on Saturday when these boys play number 2 IMG Academy. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is I believe Northwestern has a better defense. Miami Central's got a really good defense, but I believe Northwestern has a better defense. And I look at Tutu Atwell. This kid's an absolute playmaker at the quarterback position. The big question mark with IMG Academy right now is the quarterback position. They were set last year with Kellen Mond, but with Arthur Sikowski, a Miami commit, a 4-star, they thought they were going to be fine. He actually got benched last week in favor of Zach Anixtad. So there's quarterback drama going on in IMG, but luckily for IMG, they got Trey Sanders, they got Noah Kane, and they got TJ Pledger carrying the ball. So they have a very good run game, outstanding offensive line. And obviously the defense is, top 5 in all of high school football, led by Xavier Thomas and Buki.
All right, Anthony says McClymonds High School is the best team in NorCal, not De La Salle. Interesting.
Listen, if you haven't lost since I was like 4, I'm rolling with that team. So they haven't lost to a NorCal team in a little bit. So
yeah, McClymonds High, always a kind of a smaller power around the Bay Area for sure. Emmett says, thoughts on DeSoto's Cedar Hill game? Think that'll be a good one?
Listen, man, Cedar Hill, they got the new coach this year. They lost some key players from last year like Charleston Rambo. It's a rivalry game, though, so it might be closer than people think, but talent-wise, DeSoto's got a little more, and I think DeSoto wins by a couple of scores.
All right, the Southington Blue Knights 3-0. He doesn't know why people sleep on schools in Connecticut, and sometimes some of those smaller states, maybe it's up to the state governing bodies, but you need teams to kind of travel out a little bit to kind of prove, hey, maybe Connecticut can play with full.
I will say this: we dropped our top 10 running backs over the last decade, and Arkell Newsom, a Connecticut kid, made an appearance. So we got a little bit of love for Connecticut.
There you go. All right, Lamont says there's a junior wide receiver on Mater Dei who's the real deal as well.
They're loaded everywhere. I mean, You got Brew McCoy too. I mean, he's a receiver. He plays linebacker.
Yeah.
Absolute playmaker. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Nico Remigio too. He's a Cal commit. He's a 4-star. But hey, Amonra, probably the best receiver in all of high school football too. So.
All right. Do you think Orange Lutheran has the bigs to hang with Modern Day and St. John Bosco?
By hang, like close game? Yeah, I do. I like Orange Lutheran, man. They got this young receiver too, Ford. Stud.
All right. Well, you heard it from Zach. Keep the comments coming. He'll get to those. Those are our rankings for this week. We got the full rankings right now on MaxPreps.com to check those out. You can see them
Bishop
right
Gorman 12, Miami Central 15.
Yeah,
have fun.
That's the biggest one right there. I know Chris Stonebreaker does not agree with that. He's on my side.
There's a lot of things I don't agree with that guy either. So.
All right. Before we leave, though, let's get to another leaderboard right here, and this is our touchdowns against cancer. Hey, it's final week of September right here. These are big games. And some of these schools are raising a lot of money.
$11K.
Yeah. Choctaw up over 11,000. That's just one school is producing that amount of money that will go to childhood.
Wait, did they have 10
cancer.
touchdowns last week? Scroll up real quick. I don't know, does that go by the week?
No, this is for the touchdowns against cancer September time range, and the amount of touchdowns scored. Each pledge will go to that with our partners from Pledge It and St. Jude. And as you see right there, every touchdown counts.
Yeah.
So let's get those coaches last week. Let's get that done as best you can, as it's touchdownsagainstcancer.com. And later on the site today will be our top 10 plays of the week. We're putting those together right now, so if you saw something good over the weekend that we need to feature, use the hashtag MPTopPlay. You can tweet at us, post it on Facebook, wherever you want it. We'll see it. Use the hashtag MPTopPlay. That's Zack Poff, Steve Montoya, guy behind my head, Chris Stonebreaker.
You'll see him in a little bit, right?
He's the one complaining there on Facebook. All right.
He's got his own
Thanks
jersey.
for joining us here. We'll see you on Friday.